Warm greetings from the High 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans, and thanks for joining me. This is a discussion pertaining to Patrick Stallworth and Derica Brown and the Cupcake case. As most of you know who follow the content pertaining to Camille McKinney's murder by these two suspects, federal prosecutors have removed the death penalty from the table. So the state will seek also the death penalty for Patrick Stallworth and Derica Brown. Federal prosecutors are no longer seeking the death penalty for the two. This will be an open discussion. The panel will be open after I've played videos to show you the information pertaining to the case. Many people have not followed the case, so I will be playing videos pertaining to this case, a commentary by both bio donors, their renditions to the news pertaining to the disappearance of their child. I will also play information pertaining to the disappearance of the child. I will also play a little bit of the memorial service, also anniversary pertaining to the child's disappearance. And then I will open the panel for anyone who would like to give his or her opinion pertaining to why did the federal prosecutors remove the death penalty from the table for Patrick and Derica, and also where you see the case going. Are there more suspects? Did the Birmingham Police Department arrest the only two suspects? And also Candace Jackson's commentary yesterday. I spoke with the sister of Derica Brown. Quintessa Jackson is Derica's government name. And her sister Candace spoke with me yesterday live pertaining to the case, her opinions pertaining to her sister's involvement in the case, also her commentary pertaining to Patrick Stallworth. I'm going to go ahead and get started because this will be a lengthy live because I have a lot to play so people can be abreast of what we're talking about and those who are already familiar with the case. If you're not familiar with the case and you're a new sub or a new visitor to this channel, please go into the YouTube queue and my community board where I have numerous videos pertaining to this subject matter of the disappearance of Camille McKinney and also the death of her and the actions of her bio donors and other said parties who decided to immerse themselves in the case. Yes, to be seen and recognized. You should know it. And I will play you a little bit of ratchetness so you can get an idea of what's going on. But please check the queue for my said videos on this case. Also go to my community board because everything that I'm playing tonight is on my community board and in the YouTube queue. I have at least 88,000 views on one video pertaining to did Dominic McKinney get jumped at the funeral vigil. Many say he didn't. It was just some words, altercation, but it goes, you know, everything's up for interpretation. I wasn't there, but I made a video about it. And to date, that's the one video I have in the queue that has the most views, considering how many videos I make a day and through the week. The most ratchetness, I get almost 100,000 views off of one video. So I was blessed to get those views from people who tuned into the content. And I thank you all for joining me, following the content of Everyday Shenanigans, following this story and the other true crime stories that I bring to this network. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and flip this thing around and see if I can get us started here. Thank you all so much for joining me. Well, it's always a malfunction, I tell you. 1 second. Let's see. Well, I don't want to play. One second, you guys. Trying to get it together. These apps, they don't want to act right when I'm going live. It's trying to connect, so it's taking its time. I don't know what's the problem. Hold on, you guys. Something's going on here. We'll wait till I go live. I have problems.
Q, row, suggestions, row. Everyday shenanigans linked to device. LGLMQ710 is not connected. Loading. Video progress bar 3 seconds of 12 minutes, 36 seconds. Skip back 14 seconds.
Okay,
seconds
let me get this
36 seconds. Press select to resume.
even table today, so I've got a lot going on. Sorry about everything. I'm just going to play everything that I've got in the queue, but I will be watching your comments. Just want to make sure I get a good aerial view for you all. Let's see. Oh, Lordy.
Play, Q, row, suggestions, row, recommended for you, row.
I got a call saying my daughter was missing, that she was attending the kids' party. And I waited a few moments, and I gave a little time, called back 3 minutes later, and the police texted up there. And then that's when they said my daughter just abducted, missing. For the most part, I just want my daughter back. I pay anything, I put up anything, anybody that know anything what's going on. They know my daughter, everybody know me, they know Cupcake. You know anything going on, you know me, you know I put up anything to bring that baby back home. I just really most important on getting my baby back.
Describe what overnight last night was for you. I'm sure you didn't get much sleep.
Well, I ain't gonna get no sleep. I've been out all night. I looked through everything around here, every empty school, every abandoned building, and I won't stop. I won't stop. It's gonna be an all week thing. I got my own family. I got folks looking. I got folks looking right now. I got folks looking Center Point everywhere. But if anybody see anything, if anybody see Cupcake, please bring me my Cupcake back home. I'll do anything to get Cupcake back.
Tell us what she's like.
Cupcake. You really want to know what she like? She not friendly. That much I do know, so kind of got me feeling some type of way. But she's a good little girl. She's sweet. She's real lovable. Everybody like Cupcake. And you know, she's just a pretty little girl. You know, when you see her, and she got the most prettiest eyes, so you're gonna run up to her anyway. And you know, she just got a lot of family and a lot of people that care about her. Most important part that she's just a good girl. She's just a baby. And whatever the situation is, whatever they got going on, you know, we don't concern her or whatever they had going on over here in these projects. I really don't know. My most concern is getting this baby back home. And if the public can help me find out my daughter, that I'll be more than thankful. I'll be more than happy to pay whatever. I just want my baby to come back. And I won't stop.
What would you say to the person who has her?
What would I say to the person that have? You really want to know?
Probably not.
I do. I mean, this is a parent's worst nightmare.
Well, right now, I don't know who have them. So I really can't say what I do. But I would just call y'all if I would see my daughter. I call, let the authorities know, you know. And like I said, we own it. I got folks looking. We see her, we following them, we calling y'all. You know what I'm saying? To the person who did do this, like, it's sick, man. There's enough going on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, what justice would a 3-year-old girl do you? Especially if you're a grown man, like, what justice would that do you?
I said this is a parent's worst nightmare. Just I wanted to get back. Just how are you feeling? How are you doing?
I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Oh,
How are you getting through this right now?
It's a hard thing to swallow because I ain't never been without Cupcake. Like, all my life, I've been in my children's life. Like, both of them, her and Amara, they know me. They used to see me on a daily basis. My daughter know her dad. Like, ain't no random guy gonna ever just walk up to her and be like, come here. Because she know me. She know all my cars. She know every, like, I ain't never been out her life. Period. At all. So,
Just getting by day by day.
just day by day. You know, right now it's fresh. It just happened. So I'm hoping for this. Like, I ain't thinking worse like nothing happened. I'm just thinking she just somebody just got her. That's what I'm praying. I know my baby say.
What did police tell you as far as an update with this case today?
Well, last night I went to meet with the people at the administration building, and they told me that they had someone in McDonald's or somewhere like that in the Roebuck with a baby with that fit that description, and they told me that they had to get the manager to come pull the camera and went to the house with the SWAT team. They said that there wasn't the baby, so that mission failed, and somebody else just put a dominant post on Facebook saying that they were chasing the truck. So, we I see y'all do that, I see y'all do that. So we're gonna find them. We're gonna find it. That's the last thing I do on this earth. We're gonna find them. Like, to the person that do got them. Like, I will find out what's going on. I will find out. You know me. I mean, like I said, man, I come all the way from over here and we on the pilot area. I don't come over here at all, man. I wouldn't know what they had going on over here. Sorry about that, sir.
And in
I
5.
wouldn't know what these folks had going on over here.
What is happening there?
Advertise next 60 seconds.
Sorry about that. Lord have mercy.
Row, suggestions, row, more recommended for you, row, loading.
Cupcake, this ain't that girl. She ain't the girl that's gonna just go, get in the car with anybody. So right now it's just a puzzle situation, but for the most part, we're gonna pray, we're gonna hope for the best. This is the first for me. I got 4 kids, I never had nothing like this happen to me in my life. But by any means, if the police don't find, I have to put it in my own hands. I will find my dog.
It does seem like that you have a lot of support as far as family.
Yeah, got a lot of family. Like, people on it. When we see it, we're gonna get them.
How does it make you feel to know that everybody here in the community helping you guys?
It makes me feel good, and I want to appreciate you all too. Carol, appreciate you. You've been holding down last night. You saved me about 3 times. I could have been tased or something kind of.
You're kind of strong.
But I'm holding well. I got a little hour worth of sleep. I can't sleep long. That phone ain't stopped ringing yet. So everybody look for Cupcake. Everybody know Cupcake. Everybody know me and these children.
How'd you get her nickname?
It's just something I came up with. She came out, she was all cute and red with little brown eyes. Just like, it's my Cupcake. So I always call her Cupcake. I got to tell her we were here kind of ashy. I just jumped up, took a bath. But that's a cupcake with a little chair on top. This is my first daughter. It's my first daughter. She don't know nobody with me. She don't, whatever they have going on over there, this got something to do with this. But for anything else, I wouldn't even know.
How are you feeling towards, the homeowners whoever was responsible for your daughter? How she was abducted?
You want to know how I feel? Is it okay? As long as I don't use fine language. So I feel. She's only been here a couple months. She's been toured with a few people over here. She's on feet. Hell, you look at her house, look at her back door. Look at all the other doors around you. You can tell they run in and out all day. Don't watch the children down here. Here the doors hanging off the hinges. Everybody else screen doors on.
Is that a family member or a?
Some cousin, and I always tell her, I don't like my children to be over here because I know the way her cousin is. Her cousin really don't watch her own kids, and it be a lot going on in her household. But at the same time, I'm not gonna get down my baby mama because right now we don't know. We don't know the situation.
How's she
My
doing?
baby mama, well, since last night we left the headquarters together, I haven't spoke with her. They wouldn't let her talk. But what I will say is she do work every day. She been on her job for a quite bit long time. And my baby mama really, she ain't never been the type of girl that let this happen. Like I said, it don't happen if it came here. If they came here, something like this happened. But on her own time, I can't control what she do. We not together no more than that like that. But it wouldn't happen on her own time. If she was at home, I feel like if my kids were at their own house and they was outside playing or something, this wouldn't happen. But it's just ironic that my child come up missing out of all probably 50 kids out here running around in the same vicinity. But we're gonna pray for the best. It ain't about all that. I ain't gonna get on here and do all that. This ain't what this for. We're gonna pray for the best, and for the most part, I just want to keep the people on this and find my baby. She 3, she scared, she lonely. You know what I'm saying? She don't know what's going on. So I just really want to bring her home. If I gotta put the mind up, whatever I got to do. If anybody know anything, just call and tell me, baby, there's too much stuff going on already. It's enough going on. So, what says understood. That's about just all I got to say. But it comes from here. It comes from here. That's where it all started, at that project right there.
I hope you did all the answers this time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a hard pill to swallow, That's my baby. But I ain't gonna give up. Last thing I do is fail. I want to give up on them. I ain't gonna sleep till I know something. I ain't gonna stop till I know something. I need something to go on.
Do you feel like the police are helping out though? I know they give you updates every once in a while. Do you feel like you are?
I mean, I ain't gonna say the police not doing their job. Shit, look at all the stuff going on out there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you got 2 people getting killed over here, you got one that got killed around there, you got a couple of businesses that got robbed around, the baby got kidnapped. It is kind of hard, but I mean, as far as I know, they've been doing their job. They've been out here all night because I've been out here all night with them. And I was walking around here and they did pull up on me. I told them I'm the father, They know what's going on, but I feel like they doing their job. I don't feel like they not doing it. They've been here since last night. And, sometimes it takes them a little while for them to put like a hammer. They move kind of fast with this, so I really do appreciate it. That I can say.
I mean, everybody got that alert yesterday. I got the alert.
Right. They captain, they lieutenant did, he been on it. When the ship changed, he had them here. They've been sitting right there all night. I've been watching them. They've been helping out a lot. I mean, it's fresh. So basically everybody's still in the mode where they're trying to put everything together, see what's really going on. It's really not too much to go off of. You can't really get land out of somebody that they don't want to tell you they go beef with you. I can't go to her cousin and talk to her and ask her what's going on because they're not focused on finding my daughter. They're more focused on the drama. So it's like right now I'm in that. I'm just out here some projects that I don't come to, don't be at, looking for my daughter and don't know what you know what I'm saying, where to start, But like I said, I will find out. I will.
Yeah, that'll be divine right to That's your child, man. But I appreciate it.
They couldn't took it to Jupiter. We're gonna find it.
I'm praying for you, man.
Thanks so much.
No problem.
All right, everybody.
Certified celebration of life for Kimball Cupcake.
Okay, let me start my other commentary. Thank you for joining me. I got so many to play. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, let's see. That's one of his interviews. I'm going to play another interview that he gave. Hold on one second. I got a lot to play, so just bear with me.
Yesterday around about 10 minutes to 9, I got a call, and I got a call saying my daughter was missing, that she was attending the kids' party, and I waited a few moments, and I gave a little time, called back 3 minutes later, and the police detected up here, and then that's when they said my daughter just was abducted, missing. For the most part, I just want my daughter back. I pay anything, I put up anything, anybody that know anything what's going on. They know my daughter, everybody know me, they know Cupcake. You know anything going on, you know me, you know I put up anything to bring that baby back home. I just really most important to get my baby back.
Describe what overnight last night was for you. I'm sure you didn't get much sleep.
Well, I ain't gonna get no sleep.
Okay.
I've been out all night.
Just a
I looked at
replay.
everything around here, every empty school, every abandoned building, and I won't stop. I won't stop. It's gonna be an all-week thing. I got my own family. I got folks looking. I got folks looking right now. I got folks looking center point everywhere. But if anybody see anything, if anybody see Cupcake, please bring me my Cupcake back home. I'll do anything to get Cupcake back.
Tell us what she's like.
Cupcake. You really want to know she like? She not friendly. That much I do know, so kind of got me feeling some type of way. But she's a good little girl. She's sweet. She's real lovable. Everybody like Cupcake. And, she's just a pretty little girl. When you see her, and she got the most prettiest eyes, so you're going to run up to her anyway. And, she just got a lot of family and a lot of people that care about her. Most important part that she's just a good girl. She's just a baby. And whatever the situation is, whatever they got going on, it don't concern her or whatever they had going on over here in these projects. I really don't know. My most concern is keeping this baby back home. And if the public can help me find out my daughter, that I'll be more than thankful. I'll be more than happy to pay whatever. I just want my baby to come back.
What would you say?
Stop.
What would you say to the person who has her?
What would I say to the person that have? You really want to know?
Probably not.
I do. I mean, this is a parent's worst nightmare.
Well, right now, I don't know who have. So I really can't say what I do. But I would just call y'all if I would see my daughter. I call, let the authorities know, And like I said, we own it. We got folks looking. If we see her, we following them, we calling y'all. You know what I'm saying? To the person who did do this, like, it's sick, man. There's enough going on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, what justice would a 3-year-old girl do you?
Mm-hmm.
Especially you're a grown man, like, what justice would they do you?
Like I said, this is a parent's worst nightmare. I wanted to get back. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
How I'm feeling?
Yeah. How are you getting through this right now?
Okay.
Next Gen 5 Brian Laundrie told parents of Gabby.
Here's the mother.
Loading.
Hey, what's up? This is Keijin, and this is April.
This is somebody else's content. KG, thank you for this. Playing your audio.
Mother. A lot of people have, mixed feelings about her. She's been MIA a little, and basically this may have been solely started because of her, allegedly. Please listen to what she says, and please listen.
This is the mother's, the bio mother's commentary.
My name was April, AP, I'm Raina, Thomas, THOMAS.
Now, when I watch April spelling her name, it feels more like a spelling bee, like she's reciting a word that she learned. And to not leave out April's mother, Sharon Levin, or Sharon Thomas.
If anybody see Cupcake, call her name. Don't call her Camille. She answers the Cup.
Why would you tell people to not call your child by her name, no matter what? You call that child by its full name looking for it, and even ask him with the attitude that Cupcake had. I think she would even, need to be asked, and she would answer. For me, looking at April's reaction or to the question, it was a little weird. I had to loop it and look at it, and it just something about it. I didn't want to rewind it because it really showed how quickly she changed. It's suspect to me. And I have something to show you. Now, I'm going to have to come back and make a video about that. But first, I wanted to know who Braids was. Braids by the meaning of the lady with the black and the white braids that's comforting April. I noticed that she has her back towards the towards the cameras. And may not want to be seen. I'm just interested to know who she is. And we'll learn a little bit more about April Thomas. Y'all take care. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you like the content that I share, hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification button. Now let me.
Okay, I was trying to find an interview, the whole interview without anybody's, commentary in it. But that's all I could come up with. But part of this interview, that many people don't know, she snatched her mic off when the lady was trying to talk to her. And a lot of people didn't know that. We found that out like after the fact. And it was like, why would you be snatching your microphone off when someone's trying to talk to you about your kid? Very strange behavior. Very, very strange behavior. So I brought you both commentary from the mother and the father being interviewed. I'm going to now bring you something pertaining to her missing at that time.
The search continues for 3-year-old Camille McKinney in Birmingham. Police say a search conducted yesterday turned up no sign of the missing girl. Camille vanished, it seems, 9 days ago on October 12th while at a birthday party. Friday, investigators released surveillance video showing 2 children, one believed to be Camille, playing when a guy walks by. Moments later, another man with a distinctive limp approaches the children, and they followed him out of the view of that camera. Now, police say the guy with the limp is suspected in this case. So far, a $25,000 reward is being offered for information leading to an arrest and finding little Camille.
Okay.
Up next, 10:05 PPD Chief Patrick Smith discusses Camille.
Okay.
Loading.
Did arrest 2 people in connect.
Let me pause that right quick.
4 seconds.
I didn't see this in here, but let me talk about the limp. Many people thought perhaps that was Dominic that led the child out of the projects because he allegedly had an injury to his leg, and people thought perhaps that was him. And I do find it interesting that was mentioned in this commentary on the news, that it appeared to be even in the video that the person had a limp. And naturally, also, you'll hear the chief talk later about a white woman being involved in a car alongside people who were taking the child out. You hear the father saying the child wouldn't leave with a stranger. She knows him. He's got many cars. She knows his cars, blah, blah, blah. But what you have to ask yourself is, would she have left with a stranger? Because she did. They've got on video. You could ask the question, but it's obvious. They just showed the video of the 2 children playing. You don't see a whole lot of other children around. As you heard the mother, you're going to hear from her saying This is what the children did every day, her regular schedule. Lots of children played on the courtyard, which is, I believe, a parking lot area of Tom Brown. But the point is, you didn't see a lot of children in that dark video because it was nighttime when this happened. You didn't see a lot of children. And then when the children followed the suspect out of view, perhaps there was some children around that corner because a little boy does speak of seeing little feet get inside of a vehicle. I believe he was under the car or by a wheel playing. Very, very interesting information. This right here, I'm going to go on and play this because I didn't get this information. I didn't have this in my queue, but I'm going to go ahead and see what the chief has to say. We'll play this briefly too.
With Camille McKinney's disappearance and Patrick Starworth and Derek Arisha Brown still in custody.
You wrote suggestions, recommended for you,
right now.
Well, there's still a lot of investigative work to be done. Please keep in mind that investigations are like putting together pieces of a puzzle. And so from day one, we've been gathering evidence, talking to everyone in the area, putting together a piece of everyone has different pieces of the puzzle so that we can draw a picture of what occurred, when it occurred, and exactly who's responsible.
Now, everyone charged with offenses has a right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. Of course, your investigators have to prevent evidence to prosecutors to help get a conviction on this case. How strong is this case, as you know right now?
You know, Art, in order for us to make an arrest, we have to feel very confident that we have the right people in custody. We're doing everything that we can to close every single loop. Our investigators have stayed on this case 24 hours a day. You know, you got to recognize this was personal. This is a little child. And so no one was willing to back off. No one was willing to take a break until we knew, and we're fairly confident, very confident, that we had the right people, we know what we're doing, and that we're conducting a systematic investigation.
And they were your initial persons of interest to the degree that you can. Can you tell us what were their intentions and what was a motive in this case?
Well, you know, motive is often hard to prove. However, you know, I can't go too much into this investigation. There's a lot that we just cannot get into right now. There's a lot that occurred. There's a lot of evidence, and you know, it's just a very unfortunate thing for the city.
It is indeed. You mentioned at one time during one of your briefings that you thought others were involved. Do you think there will be others that could be charged in this case?
What we're trying to do is to narrow down the role of various people, what they saw, where they were, and if they were involved in this investigation. So far, we've been able to arrest 2 people who we feel are totally responsible for this.
We're looking at that video of the Tom Brown Village. How critical was that piece of video?
That was very critical to what we were trying to do. This is just not very far from the party at all. Just two little children who strayed slightly away, and it only takes a split second.
Is that man in that video, do you believe that's Patrick Starworth?
I'm not going to get into details of what we have.
You did capture those 2 suspects. How can you characterize?
Let me stop right there. When I look at this video zoomed in, it almost looks like hair hanging, like the person had hair. It looks like they had on a sweatshirt and pants. Perhaps that was Derica that took the kids out. The first person may have tried was a male, which was Patrick. He couldn't get the kids to leave. And then he sends in the girl, Derica, to finish up, to lead the children out. Because if I'm not mistaken, when I look at this person, the second person that comes in, it looks like there's a ponytail or hair hanging down the back. Feel free to go back in to zoom in the information. Thank you.
The work of your investigators. They put in a lot of work on this case.
You know, I honestly couldn't be more proud of
suggestions, recommended for you,
there were people who came in who wanted to get out there because, as I mentioned, this was personal. It's a little child, and everyone wanted to do everything they can could at that time to bring this baby back home.
All right, Dr. Smith, thank you, Chief. For now, in just a few minutes, Chief will be back. We'll talk more about how the community heals from this following the pain of losing, as you mentioned, this 3-year-old child in this manner. Let's head on.
All right,
Thanks a lot. Only on CBS 42 this morning, we're talking with Birmingham Police Chief Patrick Smith. And Chief, earlier we talked about the investigation. Now I want to talk a little bit about the emotional part of this case. I know that a lot of people worked on this case, a lot of man hours. Can you give us a sense of how many investigators, how many man hours went into something like this?
Oh my God. We placed so much into this. I can't give you a number right now, but we placed an entire team working on this 24 hours a day. I can't just say that it was BPD. It was the FBI. There were volunteers from all over who came to assist us in searching, Crime Stoppers who jumped right in to help raise money for a reward, in addition to a number of agencies. Our DA, Danny Carr, was there at the police station every day of the week, checking in on the investigation, providing insight. I mean, there were a lot of people who helped along the way. I can't thank them enough. And, even our governor, who immediately came up with a $5,000 reward, and our attorney general, who sent people down to check in to see if there was anything that could be done. There were so many people who helped on this investigation, and we're extremely grateful.
Yeah, we were watching some of those briefings, and particularly you spoke about the pain of the parents. How did this impact law enforcement?
Well, the main thing is I don't want anyone, whether it's the community or those of us in law enforcement, to forget lessons learned. This was a very critical incident, a significant emotional incident for the community and for law enforcement. And so everyone wanted to lend a hand, and we're grateful for that.
Yeah. How does the city heal from this, Chief?
Well, one step at a time. This isn't something that's going to happen overnight. I look at it like this, as chief, I sat and I watched and was a part of a tremendous investigation into a missing child. I watched as this city transformed from the Magic City to the Cupcake City, because everyone in the city was impacted by this 3-year-old little child. And it's going to take us a little time to heal. But as I mentioned, I never want us to forget the lessons learned from this. And I never want us to forget what we lost in this little child.
Is there one thing that parents can do to keep their kids safe?
Oh, absolutely. The main thing that I mentioned even yesterday was, we've got to be that community. We've got to watch over our children, watch over our neighbors' children, and keep them close. We've got to recognize that this is the future, and we have to protect it.
Yeah, Chief, thanks so much. I know a very sensitive situation. We certainly appreciate you coming in.
Yes, it is. No problem. Thank you.
That's right. Let's get over there. Talk to me.
If you're over 50,
Video
All
progress
right.
bar 0 seconds.
So that's the
0
chief giving his
seconds.
commentary.
Play.
Let me see.
Pause.
Let's see if that's all of it. All right, I'm going to place a little more.
Winning time. The rise of the lake. Loading.
Police Department, along with the FBI, have located the remains of a 3-year-old child who we believe to be Camille Cupcake McKenna.
this is tough. It's a tough moment for our city. Tough moment for this family.
Definitely a tragic update to tell you about tonight. A body believed to be little Camille Cupcake McKinney found tonight, discovered in a dumpster.
Investigators searched tirelessly as they hope to bring the little girl home alive. Crews have searched for more than a week for little Cupcake. Tonight was hard news to hear across the nation.
Yeah, we have team coverage tonight. Jeff Eliasoff, Bria Douglas, and Mary O'Connell. Let's start with Jeff tonight. Who was at the news conference earlier this evening?
Lots of folks here tonight. And of course, it's often been said that our greatest hopes and worst fears are never realized. But tonight, Birmingham's worst fears were indeed realized. Camille Cupcake McKinney, kidnapped 10 nights ago, is gone. Relentless searches, as you said, and the prayers of millions ended in the worst possible way this evening.
We found this evening remains of a child that we believe to be Camille. Her remains were found inside of a dumpster, and they were recovered inside of a landfill here in Birmingham.
Camille was abducted from the Tom Brown housing community during a birthday party Saturday night, October 12th. A few hours later, an Amber Alert was issued, which was ultimately expanded to every state in the region. Camille was last seen wearing a pink shirt, leopard print pants, and no shoes. She was never seen alive by her family again. Within hours of her kidnapping, a suspect vehicle and 2 people of interest were taken into custody. Those people are both in custody once again.
Tomorrow, we will be screening warrants for kidnapping and capital murder against Patrick Stallworth and Derek Arisha Brown.
Ms. Brown has been in custody on a probation violation since the investigation began. Stallworth was rearrested tonight. He had a previous child pornography charge. It's been an awful 10 days for Camille's family, the Birmingham community, and the people who tried to find a little girl who will never come home.
Our investigators, along with the FBI, have worked tirelessly, 24 hours a day, to locate this young child and to bring her back home, and to hold those accountable who were involved in her disappearance, in her kidnap, and ultimately her demise.
The Amber Alert, the thousands of dollars in reward money, and the endless searching to no avail. 3-year-old Camille McKinney is gone. We're live at Birmingham Police Headquarters tonight. Jeff Eliasoff, WVTM 13.
This case has really stirred emotions around the city and even the surrounding areas.
WVTM 13's Mary O'Connell continues our team coverage tonight from Birmingham Police Headquarters. And Mary, of course, a lot of emotion there tonight.
Well, you could feel the heavy and broken hearts here at Birmingham Police Headquarters tonight. Police Chief Patrick Smith said Camille McKinney not only grabbed the hearts of this community, but also the nation. At many points, Chief Smith and Mayor Randall Woodfin took their time to really grasp the message they wanted to convey to this community. Here's a piece of what Police Chief Patrick Smith wanted to say to the city this evening.
I hope this message is not lost to young mothers, to grandmothers, and to the entire Birmingham community. It only takes a split second. We can no longer assume that everyone is a part of the village that's trying to raise the child.
The chief ended that message saying we need to work hard to protect the children of this community. When Mayor Randall Woodfin stepped up, he spoke directly to Camille's family, reminding them that they are not mourning this precious child alone.
3-year-old has been snuffed out from her family. And as I think about my own nieces, as many of you all think about your own daughters, your own granddaughters, a year from now, she's supposed to be prepping for pre-K. This is tough. It's a tough moment for our city.
The mayor also told The mayor also told everyone to hug their families a little bit tighter this evening, and he wanted people to remember not to point fingers tonight, but instead to stand in solidarity and pray and lift this family up in prayer. In Birmingham, Mary O'Connell, WVTM 13.
Now let's send it over to Bria Douglas right now. She's live at Tom Brown Village. Bria.
It is absolutely quiet here at Tom Brown Village. There are no people outside walking around, no one here showing any visible display of emotion or consoling each other. Other than a couple earlier today, a man and a woman had a very loud outburst saying, "Say it's not so, say it's not so." They threw the baby in the dumpster. They were clearly shaken up. But other than them, just not a lot of people out here. And the ones that I did speak to, though, they said off camera that what happened to Cupcake was just very sad. It was wrong what happened to her, just a young, innocent child. The community is just, I believe, in disbelief and in shock that something this tragic started right here at Tom Brown Village. And earlier this evening, we did actually see a man by the name of Corey Wise. You might remember he was a part of a documentary or a Netflix series, When They See Us. He was a part of the Central Park Five, now known as the Exonerated Five. He was here and offered his condolences to the family. Here's what he had to say.
Sorry to hear. Sorry to hear. Was it your time to go, baby girl? But may you rest in everlasting peace.
And in 5.
With your household that's missing you right now.
When you order carryout online,
Advertisement 15 seconds.
Ooh, sorry about that.
Skip ad.
To your front door.
Q, bro. Suggestions,
Now,
bro.
Corey Wise was here for
Loading.
something totally separate than the events that happened here in Birmingham. He had a prior engagement. But again, we are here at the Tom Brown Village. Not a lot of people outside. It is a very somber mood, though, from the people that I was able to speak to. For now, live in Birmingham, Bria Douglas, WVTM 13.
Well, lots of support tonight for the family of Camille. This discovery breaking hearts across the city, state, and nation.
Lawmakers are even sharing their thoughts and prayers tonight. Here's a statement from Governor Kay Ivey. She says, given the tragic news that is breaking this evening, I offer my heartfelt condolences to Camille's family and profound thanks to law enforcement and all of the volunteers who have worked tirelessly in search of this precious little girl. The heart of our state is broken, but our resolve must be to do everything we can to avoid this tragedy from happening to another family. Our prayers are with Camille's family and all who have been touched by this nightmare.
Also issuing a statement, State Representative Terry Sewell. Cupcake was an innocent baby. My prayers are with her family and the entire Birmingham community during this unthinkable time. We must continue to find strength and unity, even in the face of heartbreaking tragedy. Hold the ones you love close. There's been an outpouring of support in the past week and a half as the community rallied to find McKinney.
Yeah, one of the most recent displays was over the weekend. Members of the little girl's family, as well as loved ones, even strangers, gathered at St. James AME Church to pray for Camille.
In Hoover, a neighborhood tied purple ribbons in front yards. The color was the little girl's favorite. The woman who organized the show of support says it was a way to show McKinney's family people were thinking about them during this difficult time.
And just a few days later, volunteers came together for an event they called Cupcake'S for Cupcake. And it was meant as a fundraiser to contribute to the Crime Stoppers reward. People went above and beyond, buying all 600 cupcakes in a matter of hours. And organizers say that they exceeded their goal of raising $2,000.
I want to take a minute right now to take a look at the timeline of this case.
Yeah, it all started at 8:30 on Saturday, October 12th. Camille was abducted from a birthday party at Tom Brown Village. And then just after midnight, authorities issued an Amber Alert for the 3-year-old. Later Sunday morning, they held a news conference. And at nearly 1:30 that afternoon, Birmingham police released the first photos of an SUV believed to be involved in Camille's abduction. And about 5 hours later, they released the picture of a person of interest.
Late that evening, police announced they'd found the SUV at a condo in Centerpoint and took one person of interest into custody for questioning. Monday, October 14th at 10:30 in the morning, the police chief held a news conference announcing 2 people of interest were in custody, and they'd expanded the Amber Alert to surrounding states.
Tuesday at 11:30, Governor Ivey issued a proclamation for a $5,000 reward, and then at 6 o'clock, police announced the 2 people of interest were being held on charges unrelated to the missing child. Wednesday, October 16th, around 10 this morning, that morning, a large number of police swarmed an apartment complex on Jefferson Avenue in response to a tip, but they did not find Camille. A few hours later at 4, the police chief made a plea to surrender the child at any safe place, a fire station or a hospital. Crime Stoppers announced another reward, $20,000.
Then Friday, October 18th, police released surveillance video from the birthday party at Tom Brown Village showing 2 men near 2 children, one of them identified as Cupcake. And sadly, tonight, police announced remains believed to be McKinney found in a dumpster. Again, 2 suspects are now in custody. We'll continue to follow this story for updates anytime. Download the WVTM 13 app and sign up for alerts to know the minute anything changes.
This has been really hard for all of us here in the station. Of course, we've been talking about how this has really gripped the state, the community as a whole, even outside of Alabama.
And I got to say, I'm angry, I am frustrated, and I am profoundly sad for the loss of this little girl and the pain that her family's going through right now.
We are definitely experiencing this pain with Camille's family.
All right, everybody.
Next,
Thank you so much.
Celebration of life for Camille Cupcake.
All right, we're going to go to the next video. Thank you for joining me. Showing you just bits and pieces of what was going on at the time you heard them speaking. Okay. This is a little bit of the memorial of the child.
See that there's quite a crowd that has gathered to pay their respects.
Indeed, Eunice, we have hundreds of people inside this church, and I apologize a little bit for the motorcycle noise there. There's apparently some type of escort, but there are also hundreds of people outside trying to get in. I don't think they will be. This is truly an overflow crowd and an overflow of emotions here, Eunice, as one might expect. I don't think any one of us standing around this church today failed to be moved by what we saw. The sight of a very small casket that you will see in just a few moments, but also purple balloons, flower arrangements in the shape of cupcakes, and a lot of people clutching their children ever so tightly. And if we have a few moments, I'll read you a little bit from the program that I was just handed that is written as if Cupcake were speaking. Of course, at 3.5, she could not read or write, but she can certainly love. Eunice, your thoughts?
Well, it's been a very emotional week for the entire community. Obviously, the officers have been working long hours and everyone who's been offering support. And even to be able to come in today to wear my purple in honor of Cupcake means a lot to me personally. So again, we're going to check back in with Jeff Elias off a little bit later, but I think now we're going to go ahead and take full coverage of Camille Cupcake's McKinney's funeral services from New Beginnings Ministry Church.
They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, the lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under thy feet. Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. care of me as his sheep. I will not be without any good thing. He makes a resting place for me in the green fields. He is my guide by the quiet waters. He gives new life to my soul. He is my guide in the ways of righteousness because of his name. Yes, though I go through the valley of deep, I will have no fear of evil. For you are with me, your rod and your support are my comfort. You make ready a table for me in front of my haters. You put all.
This is just to give you all a brief synopsis of what the beginning of the services started. As you see, it was a very beautiful layout for the child. Little dresses on mannequins, a cupcake, beautiful flowers on top of the casket. I play you this so you can just get a view of what it was, what the services looked like for the said deceased child. I will now play you the information pertaining to the details in the case. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. If you want to donate to the channel, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App. Thank you so much for joining me. Hold on one second. Bring you the latest information. All this information is on my community posts if you need to verify anything.
For 2.5 hours, homicide detective Jonathan Ross revealed more about Camille Cupcake McKinney's final moments. McKinney was found in a dumpster on October 22nd, 10 days after being kidnapped from a birthday party. Patrick Stallworth was charged with her death, and today Ross explained why. FBI phone tracking records put Stallworth at the scene of the kidnapping on October 12th. Ross testified how Stallworth admitted to seeing McKinney in his girlfriend Derek Brown's apartment, and how Brown said, "I want to keep her," and told him to do something sexual to the child, but he refused. The detective claimed Stallworth watched Brown place her hands over McKinney's nose and mouth before she died. Ross continued by telling the judge he said Derek removed her hair bows, barrettes, and clothing and gave the baby a bath. Prosecutor Misty Reynolds pointed out that FBI analysis found the DNA of Stallworth, Brown, and McKinney on a plastic mattress cover, and that there were levels of meth and the sleeping drug trazodone in the 3-year-old's blood. The autopsy did not find any signs that McKinney was sexually assaulted, but Reynolds said the level of decomposition could have impacted the ability to prove such abuse. Now, Derek Brown also faces a capital murder charge in this case. She will be in court for her preliminary hearing on Friday.
10 powerful benefits.
Advertisement, 30 seconds, 5.
All right, so as you hear, DNA was found of the suspects and the victim on a plastic cover on a mattress that was on the floor inside of the living room where Patrick Stallworth and Dereka Brown lived. But they also said they cannot say for sure that she was sexually assaulted because of the severity of the decomposition of her said body. I'm not going to go into the worst case with the parents bickering back and forth with different people, social media, how it came, the father got all this gossip started about who took the child. A lot of people thought he was involved, the mother was involved. He accused a rapper and his friend of kidnapping the child because they had some type of personal beef. A Two Guns Vito and a Nolan. Nolan and Two Guns were friends with each other. Just a lot of hype. But I'm going to play a little bit. It's just so you can get an understanding of what was going on at this time when this child was missing and then found after the services. Still, these parents beefing with one another and different people on social media. It was a very terrible time because you would think after the child was found in a dumpster, after having the services, that people would act like adults, the bio parents, but they could not. And it's just a sad, sad situation. I'm going to play what the mother said pertaining to what happened with her child. This is somebody else's channel. MZ No or Never.
We had the East Lake Park.
Loading.
People been trying to scam all over my social media. They try to bash and call me a bad mother. Every day, me and my children had a schedule. 6:30, I had to be at the UAB in the morning. Drop them off at my mama's house. Get off there at 7 o'clock at night. I'm zooming to Kingston to go pick my baby up from my mama's house. Seeing that smile on her face, her running to the car. We had to East Lake Park. Pick Mario from practice. The usual, guess what I do? Pick my cousin up. We skate, we gone. Avondale. Dropping them off. I'm gonna swing by a few minutes, talk to my cousin. Go home, do it all over again. I'm hearing she left with a nigga. All type of things like this. She went there, she dropped them off, pulled them off at a random person's house. No, that ain't what happened. Pulled up after the game, the birthday party was going on. My cousin, her children, because she got 5. The other 3, they was there already playing. It's still daylight. I get out the car. They go play. They excited. Cupcake happy to see her cousins. They playing. They playing. Being kids. Yeah, I go talk to my cousin. Yeah, this and that. Yeah, Cupcake ended up coming in the house because she wet her pants. I changed them. Turned my phone on. I made the post. I was excited about the game. Get ready to go. All right, Mara, let go. Another song. Mom, I can't find Cupcake. Damn, wait, what? A few minutes, they acted quickly. My baby was gone. But I'm hearing all these extra stories. As for my baby dad, Dominique, yeah, y'all want to see me bash him, all this stuff? Pray for him. I just pray for him. Now I can't entertain him and his mother with their foolishness. Yeah, I got him here said I'm tired of being silent. They lied. Cupcake's favorite color was purple. My child like Peppa Pig and Pink Delicious. She don't even own anything purple for real. She love Walmart. What child don't like Walmart? Go to the stores, Toys, Family Dollar, Dollar General. She loved to go to the park. Her favorite thing was the slide. She called the park the slide. Looking at this older woman on the news, she Cupcake great-grandmother. That's not a bald face lie. Our Cupcake great-grandmother's deceased. I'm looking at all this stuff going on at the news. I'm in shock. Yeah, I was talking about how she was fake crying and yeah, this and that. They had to call the ambulance before I did that interview. I had flipped out, had a panic attack. Couldn't do nothing but throw up. Refused to drink, wouldn't eat. Y'all looking at him on the news, he changed his clothes so many times. Yeah, a whole weekend went by, and I ain't even bathed my ass. That I was stuck in shock and disbelief that somewhere that we went on an everyday basis, when she was comfortable playing with her cousins, and somebody preyed on her. Everybody talking about this and that Cupcake. All y'all children was out there. But for some reason, they chose mine. Everybody always got something to say. Oh, it wouldn't be me, it wouldn't be this and that. Yeah, this and that. Ain't no way I was gonna do. Y'all don't even know the proper protocol that the police take when it come down to situations like this. Some of the things when y'all talk, we ain't seen her. I'm down there working with the police, trying to figure out who could be a possible suspect of my daughter being kidnapped. Who I got beef with. It's proper protocol they got to follow too. But I thank God for Birmingham. Cause they always work hard on the regular. But the way they push for Cupcake, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Looking at all the love people was doing, coming down that door, made money for reward money. I'm grateful. I didn't expect this outcome of her being dead. But I'm glad Birmingham did at least recover her, where I was able to properly lay my child to rest. And I'm not out here wondering where she is. Is that Cupcake? Do they look like her? Around here still wondering, going crazy. And then some people, it kind of hurt. Some of y'all look at y'all, some of y'all I know, that they went live and talk bad. Oh, y'all beat that bitch ass and all this type of stuff. And I remember some of y'all I done talked to. Look, sis, don't do that. It ain't worth it. It gonna get better, sis. Hold your head up.
Video progress bar 9 minutes, 47 seconds of 22 minutes, 37 seconds.
I'm going to stop there. You can watch the rest of that garbage on my post. I want to just give you all a synopsis. And also the bickering. I'm going to play something else because I don't want to go winded into all this stuff what these parents were doing. But just to give you a synopsis of what was going on with this case at that time, to tie it all together of how sad the case was of a child missing, parents showing out on social media, and then trying to piece together why these two people chose this child. Many people, as I said, accuse the parents of having involvement. Still, there are people who still think they were involved because of their behavior during their interviews and thereafter. The father went live stating that it was probably just a day later. He went live on social media, a day after the little girl went missing, which was on a Saturday, October 12th, that somebody called him for a ransom. Now, you hear him talking in the interview that he went down to headquarters. Well, when he did the live, that was one of the comments he made. I had just left headquarters. You're calling me about a ransom. So we didn't know who he was speaking of. Was he speaking of the mother, April, or was he speaking of Derica, the girl locked up? But if she had just got arrested, Derica, how would she have access to call him? Because usually you don't have quick access to call because we have different protocols now for calling. You don't have the phone booth in the jail anymore to call. You have to get a card set up to call out. So in my mind, I was thinking, how could it be the suspect? If the suspect was in cahoots with him, she probably wouldn't readily be able to call her first time getting in the jail. So that left April Thomas. Was this true? Or was this just Dominic making this up to get attention on social media to implicate the baby mother as a suspect? Because they had their beef, they had their issues, both of the parents arguing, bickering back and forth with one another. He had children by another woman, 2 twins by another woman. And you also hear him saying that during his interview that Cupcake was his first girl child. So allegedly he had 2 children by April Thomas, Cupcake and the son. And then 2 outside daughters, they're younger or near the same age as Cupcake, with another young lady. But over time, it was sad because it was really pathetic to see him going back and forth arguing with different people on social media. And in your right mind, you're sitting here trying to figure out, why is this person arguing with people? For what reason? Your child is missing, later found deceased in a horrible manner. And all you can do is go to social media accusing different people of kidnapping your child, implicating one guy who allegedly had a relationship with this April Thomas. Just sad to me. Then the following year, she's in a trap house with guys. You can hear her voice in the background. Just, to me, very disrespectful and asinine behavior of people that are supposed to be caring for their child. But it goes to show you, you don't know people. And I tell you all this all the time with true crime. You don't know the people involved in the case. You don't know the parents of the children that are missing and deceased. You don't know them. It's only a little bit as time goes by, you start to get a glimpse of who the people are that are talking about their children. And you realize the reason why their children are gone is because they weren't properly reared by the people who were supposed to look after them. You hear her in this audio telling you she had the same routine every day. It was Cupcake's routine, which that's not true. That's your routine. A 3-year-old doesn't have a routine. They only do what somebody allows them to do. So you running here, running there, picking up people after you got off from work, sitting with your cousin in the projects, that was your routine. That wasn't a child's routine. She's only going along with the flow because you're the adult. But perhaps maybe if you hadn't been hanging in that project all the time, every day, your child would be here. And that's not to take away from what they did to the child. But the point is, those children were playing and there was no supervising adult, because had there been an adult there, those two wouldn't have even thought of going near the child, whether it was that child or another child. If the children were supervised, they would have never touched that little girl. And then that's another question. Why that child? And she says this herself, why my child? Well, and that's when people start speculating that perhaps you all had something to do with it. I'm not saying that they do, but I'm just saying it was very suspicious at the time before we knew that Patrick and Derica were involved in this said case. And I always said I would accept whoever was the suspects. I wouldn't go on and on about the parents having any involvement. I'm going to play you a little bit of Planet of Fakes. God rest his soul, he's no longer living. This is commentary from when the father was beefing with this Two Guns veto, just to give you a synopsis of what was going on at the time of the child's disappearance and found deceased. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans.
Loading.
Well, I pop the shit out of nigga when I hit a nigga in their face with this Glock. Hell yeah, nigga. And I ain't talking about no slap, nigga. I'm talking about a pop, nigga. Hell yeah, I do it, nigga. Did I hurt a child? No, nigga. Please stop putting shit like that on my name. Y'all cannot believe half of the shit that they say about people. These niggas are lame. They are liars. They cannot beat me. They cannot defeat me. So guess what they do? They click up amongst each other to try to put up some type of plan and huddle up. And then they get the police involved. So not only am I fighting for ass mama boys, they try to put the police on me, lying on me. These are allegations. Y'all need to be sued for that. Why y'all keep lying on me, bro? That's defamation of character, nigga. It is. I ain't even sue him. He can sue him. He ain't got no money to sue them. Just like if I catch you, I do something to you, nigga. I ain't doing that to no child. Bitch ass nigga. I always saying my name like this and child and shit. That nigga Officer McKinney is a bitch, huh? Officer Johnson and Officer McKinney, nigga. On crib, nigga. I just pulled up to this nigga front door, nigga. And Candy Mountain, nigga. Watch this nigga girl get in the car, nigga. Sent the girl to the store for some drinks and shit, huh? This nigga scared to come outside. Don't say I went in Candy Mountain, I went live from Candy Mountain. That's why I started my live at coming up out of Candy Mountain.
Hey, what's up? This is Keisha.
All right, everybody.
This is April Thomas, Camille Cupcake McKinney's mother. A lot of people have.
I'm going to leave it there. That was Two Guns venting about that was his ongoing beef at the time with the father. It's just always something. Just playing a little bit of everything so you can get an idea of what was going on at the time. Thank you for joining me. All right, everybody, we'll get started. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your patience. An hour or so in. 1 hour and 14 minutes in. My take on this case. At the time when all that was going on, I didn't know anything about the people. Somebody had jumped in my comment section and said, you don't know the case, you need to go over to social media, Facebook. Well, that was the worst thing I ever done, was going to Facebook to see what the hell these people were saying about this and that, because that was the start of all the innuendos, speculations, and rumors pertaining to the child's disappearance. People, as I said, assumed that the parents were involved because of their behavior on social media. Thereafter, their interviews with the news. That's why I played you their interviews so you could get an idea of why people were assuming that they were involved. The mother decided to come out of her cocoon after the child was buried and start beefing with people on social media, cussing and fussing. The father going back and forth, saying nasty things about her as well, accusing her of sleeping with some guy, Nolan, and then beefing with this Two Guns Vito, a local Birmingham rapper who's friends with the Nolan guy. So you didn't really know what to think until the arrest of Patrick Starworth and Derica Brown. Now, many people feel like all these people knew each other. I don't know, the suspects and the bio parents. But in the end, only 2 were arrested. And to this day, 2.5 years later, there have been no other arrests in the kidnapping and murder of Camille McKinney. You also heard in this commentary that DNA was found on a plastic cover of a mattress belonging to all 3, the baby, herself, and the 2 suspects. DNA found, I believe it says, of the child under, how did they say that? I'll have to go back in. Fingernail DNA, not Derica's DNA, but his DNA under the child's. I want to make sure I was repeating that correctly. The child had Patrick's DNA under her fingernails. You also saw Facebook posts of the baby daddy at the Center Point condominium at some point in life. Don't know when it was taken, when the photo was taken. So that's when people started trying to, people were speculating. Maybe he did this. Maybe he had a beef with the mother. And you heard him say all this in his commentary. I don't know what's going on over here. I don't know these people, but it's got something to do with this place. And people thought about that because we didn't know what to believe. We didn't know what to think. We don't know these people. We didn't know anything about anything. I'm going to start off with saying what has been revealed a couple days ago. In Alabama, federal prosecutors have taken the death penalty off the table for Derica and Patrick. So now it'll only be up to the state to sue them for death penalty, sue them as a death penalty, take them to court for death penalty. And I'm curious to why did they do that? It's very interesting. I don't know much about the death penalty clause, but I am curious to why federal prosecutors would take the death penalty off the table. So where is this going? Why not? Is there something else they're going to reveal in court? Who all is going to be in court? Who's going to appear? Witnesses. And see, with all the stuff that went on during this time with these people, all these intricate parts, all that's going to play out in court, it's going to be a hot, hot mess. All of it. But a lot of things that threw me off with the commentary I've played, when the father was saying, I got people looking for it. It's going to take about a week. I got them looking in Center Point. Of course, that's where the child's body was found. Right at Center Point, next, she was at that apartment complex that he's been to before, pictures of him on social media. So I always wonder, why did he say there? I got people looking in Center Point. Why would you have people looking in Center Point if your child went missing in Birmingham? The Center Point is outside of Birmingham. It used to be considered Birmingham many years ago, but it was annexed off. He also said the child wasn't friendly, yet the child went with somebody. He kept talking about what they had going on over there in the development. What did that mean, what they got going on? Who are they? Was he speaking of the cousin? Because he also spoke of the cousin in the commentary. That's who the child was visiting. The mother took the child over there to that cousin. And you hear the mother saying that's what she did every day, was go over there to visit her cousin. And he also feels like the child would have never gotten kidnapped had the mother not taken the child over to that Tom Brown development. She knows all his cars. She wouldn't go with a random guy. But indeed, she did go with a random guy and lady. So was that both of them that walked up to the children? We also see that no other other child was taken? Who was that child that was with her? Cousin, friend, what? Why didn't they choose that child? What was so special about Camille McKinney? Why did they take that child? His answers didn't match when they asked him, the news reporter, about what would he do or say to the person that took his child. What would he say to the person? He wouldn't even readily answer. You really want me to answer that? Yeah, they asked you. They do want you to answer. Very weird statement. Talking about the cousin's house, doors being off the hinges, the only door without a screen on it. Very negative things to say in a public arena. But then he tries to take it back by saying, well, I'm not here to do this. Talk about my baby mother because she does work. But you just did that. You're talking about her family member, and you're also talking about her judgment of going there to this place, and this is how your child got gone. And he also says that he feels like if the child hadn't gone to that said development, she wouldn't have gone missing. She would have gone missing, I guess, at the home of the mother. But I don't believe that because I've seen a live where the child was riding her tricycle ahead of the mother while the mother was going live, and the child had already made it around the corner out of sight from the mother. So that's not true. And I also had gotten the information when I first started talking about this case that the mother would leave her children outside to play alone where they lived and would come outside hollering for her children at night. And I do believe the person who brought me that information was telling the truth. I don't think that they lied. The birthday party. It's been mentioned 1,000 times in news articles and news clippings pertaining to the disappearance and murder of Camille McKinney. But it has been said by the mother who threw the party on Facebook, she did not know anybody in the development and she did not invite any of those children to the party. They just came. She fed them. She did not turn them away because they were children, but she did not know Camille, her brother, or their relatives. And I believe her. I don't think she would lie about that. And I don't think it's right to keep saying that in news articles that the child was at a party. Perhaps, April, you pulled up and there wasn't the party going on and your children got out and ran over there, but you didn't pull up to Tom Brown to go to the party. And I think that needs to be clarified. And I know that that's going to be clarified in court. Somebody's going to tell the truth. Hey, we did not invite any of these people. Their children walked over here. We gave them a piece of cake, candy, ice cream, or whatever, but they were not invited. I didn't know them. And she's played off of that. Children, you hear her in the audio. The children pulled up, blah, blah, blah. It's very baffling information. And I think it's wrong to even play off that lie because it's been told 1,000 times. They got out of the car, they ran over to the party. But you know good and well, April Thomas, you weren't invited to the party and your children weren't invited. And where were you? And yes, you say in this little brief interview in your car that you changed the child's clothes. Well, see, that's crazy too because it has been said that somebody went to the house 2 times, wherever you were, cousin, whoever's door they were knocking on, to try to tell you all to open the door because the child was urinating outside. So 2 times the child was pulling her underpants down outside, which is inappropriate for a child to be doing. And then we have to ask ourselves, why would a child urinate outside when they could go inside of a house and use the bathroom? 3 years old, she should know better than to urinate outside. That showed me that she's been peeing outside. And you've allowed her to pee outside anywhere, anytime, when there was no bathroom available. I always tell people to stay woke on a story. That lets me know that she's been doing just what you said. You regularly go there, and she regularly stayed outside for hours and used the bathroom outside instead of going inside of a domain to use the restroom. And someone knocked on that door 2 times, and I believe it. Finally, on the second time, I believe they said somebody opened the door. They didn't see who it was. And then the child came right back out. And we know she came back out because she was later found dead in a dumpster. It's very sick information. But you were too honoring to watch your child. So what were you doing? You said you were there. Okay, well, if you were there, why does the child not come in at a decent time? I mean, you said it to yourself. You said it yourself in the interview. Well, it was daylight when we got there. Yep, and it was nighttime when they stole your kid. So that means your child was out for hours. Unless you want to say, oh, I got there right before the son went down, which I don't believe that. The father talking in his interview about whoever did this, he'll pay them. I thought that was an odd statement to say you'll pay somebody. Why would you pay something when you don't know anything? And then next day you hear him talking about a ransom, or same day about a ransom. So one would have to ask themselves, was this orchestrated? Because it doesn't make any sense to say that. I'll pay whatever. I don't know what these people got going on. Maybe it was just him didn't really know what to say at that time. But this is why people started gossiping, because of his commentary was off. And the mother's commentary was off. I don't know who got her, but I'd call the police if I saw her. Most men wouldn't say that. They'd say, hell, I'm getting ready to whoop somebody's you know what if I see him with my child. They ain't getting ready to call no police. They're going to call the police after they done beat somebody to sleep and got their baby from them. Come on, stay woke. But in the end, like I said, bio parents were not arrested for orchestrating or facilitating a kidnapping of their own child. Just a lot of strange behavior. I do have a video of a woman who drove through the Tom Brown housing to show you what it looked like, and it's courtesy of TG Breaking News. I can play that at any time so you all can get a general idea of what the housing development looked like and where the children got, where the one child got abducted on that courtyard. And when most of us heard that word courtyard, we just assumed it was a real courtyard, like an opening. But from my understanding, as Miss April told us, we don't know what we're talking about. Well, of course we would, because we're not there. It was just a little area that had like a little piece of concrete, not what we would consider a courtyard, an open courtyard, where you'd have, sitting areas and, pergolas and things like that. But there couldn't have been a lot of children around, and there couldn't have been an adult around, because if so, we wouldn't be talking about this story. The person had been watching, obviously, that the children were unattended and nobody was around. And it was very brazen for them to go in and take the child, because a parent or anybody could have come around the corner and said, hey, where you going with that kid? Come on now. And the thing that amazed me is when I was watching this girl take a drive of Tom Brown housing, I sat there and watched her leave from where the tree was, where they had a bow, purple bow on it. And then she was riding down the street trying to find the area where the children were actually playing, where the abduction took place. If I'm watching her drive a little ways from that tree to around the corner, which is where the abduction scene was, imagine a child on foot going that same distance. It would be longer. So that means the child was out of sight in a little ways from where the cousin's home was and where allegedly the birthday party was. Stay woke. I didn't count the minutes of the drive, but the point is, by foot, it would be farther to walk than being inside of a car. That's my said commentary. Very strange. But why is there no federal death penalty? Very curious. Very, very curious. Got 50 watching. Thank you. Slow motion tonight, but that's all right. Do you all think they have all the suspects involved in this kidnapping and murder of a child? I keep mentioning sexual assault, but one would assume that they did sexual assault a child, because what would be the purpose of taking the child and just killing her for no reason, unless you were doing something felonious with the child? And that is the accusation brought by Derica Brown against Patrick Stallworth, that the child had performed oral sex on a grown-up. And that's a very hard thing to digest and compute inside your brain pertaining to a toddler, or any child for that matter. It's very sick. And both are pointing the finger at the other one. It's very, very sad. It's just disturbing. Hit the link if you want to give your opinion pertaining to Patrick Stallworth and Derica Brown not facing federal death penalty, and what you think of this case. Did Birmingham get it right by arresting these only two? Are they the only two that are involved in this crime? of kidnapping murder of Camille McKinney, aka Cupcake? What will be the fallout? Well, hit the link if you have an opinion. Well, Tracy, we will see. The state is seeking the death penalty, so I would assume the 12 members of the jury will possibly render a guilty verdict. But we've learned in certain cases that how you think something will pan out doesn't. There are times when it doesn't pan out. We learned that with Casey Anthony. A lot of evidence was revealed of her partying, not reporting the child missing, making up names of the person that had the child, you know, all types of things that did not pan out and were not true. Not just not panning out, they weren't true, they were lies. And 12 members still found her not guilty. And that's all it takes is reasonable doubt that the person didn't do it. That's all the defense has to do is show reasonable doubt, because the burden of proof is on the state's attorney's office. The prosecuting attorney has to prove the case. The defense does not. They just have to show why it didn't happen, couldn't have happened. And many people have gotten off. I'm sure there are many, many guilty people walking around that committed a crime such as murder, rape, sodomy, and they did it. But all it took was the one person in the jury box to say, nah, I don't think they did that. That's all it takes. Hit the link if you have an opinion pertaining to this case and this new information coming out of Alabama pertaining to this federal death penalty off the table. I find it very strange. I probably should have Googled why they would take it off, because I'm very curious now why that would be removed. Very, very curious. Very strange. I'm going to Google something. Hold on one second. Why would federal prosecutors take the death penalty off the table? Let's see. Trying to find. I don't know. You all feel free to hit the link. If you have something you want to ask or something you want to say about the case, feel free to hit the link. Trying to find something about that. Can't find anything for reasons of it being removed. Excuse me. It says, contrary to what many believe, the federal death penalty is frequently employed in cases where a conviction or death sentence would have also been available in state courts. There are no prisoners on the federal roll for treason or air piracy, for example, and only one prisoner's case was related to terrorism. Individuals on the federal sentences of death include defendants who were already serving long state prison sentences for the same homicide, those who were prosecuted in federal court because the vehicle used in a carjacking was once shipped through interstate commerce, and others whose case involved the death of an inmate partner. A number of federal death sentences were prosecuted in states that have abolished the death penalty. Not really getting an understanding. Very strange. Oh, well. I don't know. I'm very curious to why it was taken off the table. I was trying to find something in the search, why it would have been removed. Maybe it's because the state was seeking it too. Not sure. Very odd. Just more things in here about abolishing it and not abolishing it. Well, I guess we'll find out whenever they choose a date to go to court. Well, what do you all think of Candace's interview that she gave yesterday to me? Her opinions pertaining to her sister's involvement in the case. She doesn't believe that her sister sexually assaulted the little girl, or not really sure. There were accusations of her touching her own children, allegedly. It's something she heard from her other relatives. So is that true? I don't know. It's very interesting information. Very interesting. And neither one have been arrested for child molestation. So is it possibly these two went under the radar as pedophiles? Very interesting. Very interesting information. If you need verification for anything that I played this evening, please go into the YouTube queue. It's on my community board, all the said information. And there are other videos. There might be a few more on there I didn't play pertaining to the case itself and evidentiary of the child being discovered in the landfill. I put a question mark after that link. Feel free to join us if you'd like to give your opinion pertaining to this case, where it's going. Why hasn't it been put on the docket? I've wondered that. Because this happened in October 2019. This should have been on the docket no later than October 20. Even though we were going into COVID after the child was found deceased. COVID came in March of 2020. So all of 20 would have been a no-go. But by 21, most definitely, this case should have gone to trial. I have no idea, Diane. I have no idea on anything. They're working on it right now from what Candace is saying. Her sister's lawyer is doing her investigative work. They're still looking into other things pertaining to crimes that perhaps Patrick has committed. So I guess it should be coming up soon. I don't know what is soon. 2 months, 3, 4. I don't have an idea. I haven't heard any mention of this case going to trial yet. It's very baffling information. Very baffling. It's a very bizarre case too, especially when it's alleged that other children were outside playing. Just very strange. Why did they choose that child? I really would like to know that. Why did they choose her? It's very, very, very bizarre. Like the Lakers are playing 94-91. Oh, mercy. Well, that's the sad information. I think I'll play this one more video to show you what the housing development looked like, where the child was playing. That's one video I forgot to play. Very interesting. Interesting information. One second.
Anyway, menu.
Sorry about that. Trying to see. I'll pull up this video. This girl said they were driving. I'll give y'all a little. This is courtesy of TG Breaking News. She don't mind me using her contents. This is a. This is to give you an idea of what this place looked like.
I know a whole lot. It's a couple. Let me try to get a shot over here. See that right there? Little bows on the thing. There's some purple bows as well. I think this is the street. I don't know. Let me drive. So many of y'all from in here. But I want to say this side over here is where it happened at. Because you see this marker right here that says Camille. I can get that right there. Okay. So there's a pink and purple bow right there as well. And I'm driving. And I'm going to go around this back alleyway because I think that may be where I'm going to try to find that house that's the basement. Okay. Turn over here. So, see, it's a pretty big size complex. Let's see. I'm going on this side because I think that this is where it all happened back here. Because I remember seeing that house. Let me see if I can find that house again. It's a church, okay. Maybe it's here. And I may just have to get out on foot and see.
Already 1 minute of her driving.
Okay, I'm going to turn down this street because I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. Yeah. I think that's like the daycare thing. This is one of my sons. I appreciate her. The truck right there. Yes, the house. There's that truck that was in the surveillance. Right there. Okay. So if I go around behind it is the apartment. And this back alley over here behind these houses is probably and you guys can see the street. This is the street of houses that I'm on right here, next to the project, okay? Now let me make a left here because this must have been where it happened. Let's see. This must be the surveillance that house showed because that house is back there. So I'm thinking that this is the alley. Now, if we go back around, as you can see, there's not enough space for any bouncy houses, and I'm just gonna drive right over here. So I'm gonna have to really be careful. Facebook. Everybody judging and condemning me for 2 sick people that preyed on a child that was out playing with her cousins and family on her everyday schedule. I'm hearing, oh, she was by herself and yeah, this and that. I wish I could have a camera just to show you how many kids was out in that courtyard that day. The lies and she was there for hours at a time and nobody know who she was and things like that. I pray for the lady who had the birthday party because you told a bold-faced lie. My cousin Sharon was there. Cupcake had just practically got there. We had been on
Excuse
the
the
all
smoke detectors, y'all.
day.
I have batteries, I just haven't changed yet.
The only thing I'm gonna claim guilt to was being comfortable in an area that me and my kids go to almost every day. A few minutes turned to a lifetime of hell for me. And y'all people to be trying to scam all over my social media to try to bash and call me a bad mother. Every day, me and my children had a schedule. 6:30, I had to be the UAB in the morning. Drop them off at my mama's house. Get off there at 7 o'clock at night. I'm zooming to Kingston to go pick my baby up from my mama's house. Seeing that smile on her face, her running to the car. We head to East Lake Park. Pick Mario from practice. The usual, guess what I do? Pick my cousin up. We skate, we gone. Avondale. Dropping them off. I'm gonna swing by a few minutes, talk to my cousin. Go home, do it all over again. I'm hearing she left with a nigga. All type of things like this. She went there, she dropped them off and pulled them off at a random person's house. No, that ain't what happened. Pulled up after the game, the birthday party was going on. My cousin, her turn, because she got 5. The other 3, they was there already playing. It's still daylight. I get out the car. They go play. They excited. Cupcake happy to see her cousin. They playing. They playing. Being kids. Yeah, I go talk to my cousin. Yeah, this and that. Yeah, Cupcake ended up coming in the house because she wet her pants. I changed them. Turned my phone on. I made the post. I was excited about the game. Get ready to go. All right, Myron, let's go. Notice something. Mom, I can't find Cupcake. Damn, wait, what? Few minutes, they ate quickly. Baby dad Dominique. Yeah, y'all want to see me bash him, all this stuff. Pray for him.
See right here, this is where
Everyday shenanigans linked to device.
this is why many people will have a problem with the said commentary from her, because if your son came in to tell you he can't find her, then that alludes to the fact that they weren't together whenever he came back in the house, or if he was in the house for a duration. So that means he wasn't out there with her playing at some point. The fact that you admit that you changed her undergarments, pants, whatever, we don't really know what's the truth, because you never gave a timeline. You're kind of like Candace out of Hollerville. There was never a timeline given. Hey, I arrived to Tom Brown at this time. I sat in my cousin's house at this time. The children played outside from this time to this time. My son came in or went out looking for the child at this time. There was never a timeline given. Oh, Barge, it's got an error. Hold on a minute. Let me try it again, baby. Yeah, because I was wondering what's taking you so long to come up here. Let me try it again, baby. Wait 1 second. Let me look at it. Well, I got it written down right. I don't know why it's not doing it. Hold on a minute. Let me try it again. See if this is better. I don't know why. Oh, Lord. Here we go. Hold on a minute. Try it again, Marge. I don't know what's going on. This computer is acting up. Only when you go live, honey. It's got to be a malfunction. Yeah, it should be correct now. Marge, hit the link if you want to come up, honey. Any of you want to give your opinion pertaining to this case, feel free to hit the link. Why the federal prosecutors decided not to go forward with the death penalty for Patrick and Tarika Brown. It's very strange. I don't know. I don't know much about the death penalty. Nothing at all, quite frankly. The state is pressing forward, though. That has been said in the information I brought you the other day. And I played you a little bit of audio for the parents' interviews with the news, a little bit of garbage they were going through with other participants they immersed in the case. And here you hear the bio mother speaking of how people bashed her on social media as being irresponsible to leaving her child unattended in a Tom Brown housing development. And mind you, she did not live there. She made that clear in this audio that that was her normal schedule to go by there and visit her cousin after work. But you have to ask yourselves the obvious. Why did they choose this child? Why were there nobody around, older, younger, to say, hey, that's not your kid, leave that kid alone? That's why I know there weren't any adults around. Because if people know you and see you all the time with your children, they'll know, hey, that's not their child. So I would think if somebody knew the children, they would have said something. But that lets me know that there weren't any adults around. And the child was out of sight from the cousin's apartment. So I don't know how far the proximity is to that little courtyard area versus where the cousin lived. But in the end, it doesn't even matter because that's all it takes is a quick second. To get lured, kidnapped, it's all the same. And she's a child. It doesn't take much. They probably offered candy because I heard that they were buying candy. They bought like $19 worth of candy from a convenience store. They were seen buying candy that day. They're also been accused of trying to lure some other young girls near a schoolhouse to get in their vehicle, saying, you look like somebody we're looking for. And by the grace of God, those girls got away. It's a very tragic tale. But you have to be careful when you are out and about. You can't assume that a place is safe because that's somewhere that you frequent. It's just like being in your own apartment building. You have to be careful walking to the garbage can or the mailbox, leaving your door unlocked. You don't know who's listening. You don't know who's realizing that you didn't put the key in the door and lock the door. They could be sitting there waiting on you when you get back. People are brazen these days. And obviously these two creatures were very brazen. They did not care. Dark or not, they did not care because they were trying to lure girls into their vehicle when it was daylight time. So they didn't get what they wanted. So they sought after a smaller child, which is very sad. It's just pathetic. There's not really any appropriate word to use because it's the unimaginable. Somebody wanting to seek out a child for whatever purpose. We know they're not good purposes. Tarika had her own children. I don't know why she wanted this child. That's Patrick's version. She wanted a kid. He told her, hey, what are you doing with this kid? So he acts like he came home and saw the kid sitting in the living room. I don't believe that because they both got arrested for luring a child out of the development. So that means there was surveillance to show both of you were out there and both of you lured the kid. But I just think it's ridiculous. Nobody was out there to watch the children. Nobody was there. You have a little boy later telling us that he saw little feet climbing into a car. So obviously he was down on the ground playing or something, and he was able to see. So that means he had to be near that same vehicle. This is dangerous. All these children in the vicinity of these two perpetrators. But yet they only took the one child. And I still wonder why they took that child. And I don't know if there's a connection to these bio parents or personal vendetta against family members. I don't know. Could just be two sick people wanted to take a child for perverse reasons. But I just don't understand doing it and then killing the kid. It's one thing if you took her for perverse reasons, but why do you have to kill her? You didn't have to kill her. It's just very sad. Marge, I've dropped the link. I don't know what's the problem with you hitting it. What is it? The malfunction? Because I've double checked the link. But it should be working. Because I'm comparing it to up here. Yeah, everything's correct. Maybe it's your phone. I don't know. But that's the sad information. I was hoping that I can get some opinions pertaining to this storyline, these two demons. And I want to hear people give me their opinions pertaining to the sister's commentary. What she had to say, because she did come up yesterday and give her opinions rather pertaining to her sister, and not thinking her sister exacted the crimes. So I don't know. Sorry about that. Well, I was trying to call my mom. I guess she's not answering. Well, I guess Marta's having a problem hitting the link. I don't know what's going on. Why she can't hit it. Strange. Shouldn't be a problem. Because I've double checked it. One second. Trying to check something out. Yeah, it's accurate. So I just sent it to somebody else and it comes up. So I don't know, Marge, why you're having trouble. All right, Diane. Thanks a lot. Well, I don't know why she's having trouble getting up here because I've got everything checked out. So what are you all's thoughts on Candace's commentary in the interview that she did with me? I don't think she believes that her sister did those things. I think that Candace is in denial of her sister participating in the abduction and possible sexual assault and murder of her child. I don't think it's going to matter who did what. They both were there together, seen, luring the child out of there, taking her back to the apartment, and doing God knows what with her, and then killing her. And then one of them dumped her. Because naturally, it doesn't take two people to discard a body, but one of them dumped her in the dumpster. It's a very sick tale of a child. And both pointing the finger at the other one, not wanting to take any responsibility for harming the child. It's very sick. Very, very sick. Very, very sick. I'm curious to why is it taking so long for them to get the trial started. It's very odd. It's a very odd situation. And now her bringing up these allegations, Derica, of him committing other said crimes, and possibly she was a witness to them. This is very baffling. So then we have to ask ourselves, what crimes are we speaking of? Molesting children and or actually killing the kids? What children would these children be? State of Alabama or somewhere else? I don't even know if I believe that. Sounds crazy to me. And what other children would he have had access to? You have to ask that question as well. And what children are missing from the state of Alabama that nobody has mentioned? It's very odd. And I don't know that they were together long enough to be going to other jurisdictions outside of Alabama to exact crimes against children. Maybe he's done it before when he lived in Florida or somewhere else. I don't know what it is about Florida, but they have a lot of sadists down there. A lot of child molesters, rapists. State of Florida. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Tracy, do you have something you like to say? You like to comment a lot in the comment section. You're welcome to hit the link. One second, you guys. I'm trying to call somebody. Well, I don't know. Everybody's busy. Very strange information. Well, that's all I have for this evening. I want to play you all the information that I could come up with, because there's more of how this case came to be, all the intricate parts of the case pertaining to the bio parents and the other people that immersed themselves. Is way more than what I've showed. And I wasn't even about to go there down Satan's road to bring up all the extra he said, she said stuff that was really irrelevant. But I do believe that, as I've said time and time again in these cases, if the parents would think before speaking, a lot of the gossip and rhetoric wouldn't start. Naturally, people that know you may give their opinion on social media pertaining to your guilt or innocence. But if you add to the fire, and how's that helpful? The goal is to find your child, not to point the finger at this one and that one, because that's what starts problems. And you're already looking for somebody who ended up deceased. You as well could end up in the same shape as your child by running your mouth and pointing fingers at people who possibly didn't have anything to do with the abduction and or murder of the child. And a lot of people don't think about that when they're running their mouth on social media. And this case is one of those that became, a social media circus. A lot of gossip, a lot of threats made, by the father to this Two Guns person and Nolan guy. And I just think it was very pathetic and sad that your child was missing and then found deceased, and you still didn't think to stop talking and running your mouth on social media. And then the mother picked up where the father left off, jumping on, accusing people of things. And I think the most baffling thing I saw, besides just how nasty the father's mouth was, going on and on about this and that with other guys, was the night the child was missing in Tom Brown. And someone, it was recorded. A young lady trying to ask her what her child's government name was. And she wouldn't even tell her. And the girl was like, well, I'm in a, missing persons group, and I'd like to get, like to help you. So if you give me your child's name, I can put it in the chat or whatever, and they can spread her name around. Just listening to her go on and arguing with this female who lived there. Now, mind you, April didn't even live in the Tom Brown development. So one, you're somewhere where you don't belong. You're there now allegedly looking for your child who's missing from that said development. And the only thing you could think to do at that time while your child is missing is arguing with a resident about a government name. All you have to do is just say, well, I don't want to give it to you. See, that's when people started talking. Because it's like the behavior is sick. Now, this was in a closed group. So a lot of people didn't have access to that information until it got out. A girl put it on her YouTube channel, and I'm glad she did, because people needed to see the behavior of the parents. Their behavior was off. Their commentary was off. You're arguing with someone the same night that they're looking for your child. Lots of people are standing out, watching, gaping, watching this unfold about your child, and you're out here arguing with a complete stranger. Then a month or so later, you're on social media arguing with random people about nothing. Somebody made a claim that your child was missing earlier. And the fact you're going off about that on Facebook, that was strange. Because why would you do that? Unless there was some truth to it. Was your child missing earlier today in another park? Because there are pictures of a boy that looks like your son near a bouncy house, a big bouncy house. So one would have to ask themselves, is that your children in that picture? Is it at the Tom Brown development, or was it somewhere else? And then that spawned innuendos that perhaps the child was taken earlier by them, then returned to the park, then re-picked up. See, people come up with all type of crazy ideas pertaining to a storyline. But had you been watching your child, you'd have your child. That's just the way it is. And yes, many of us have played outside, out of the sight of our parents. We sure did. And by the grace of God, we made it safely back in. Because there was always somebody watching us. And not saying that we couldn't have gotten out of sight, walking up the street to a store, and somebody could have snatched us. Of course. So I grew up in the city. So we know anything's possible. But on that fateful day, you weren't watching your kid, and she was out of sight, She allegedly come in that house at least 2 times to change her clothes, which to me shows negligence, because there's no way a child should be changed that many times from light to dark. Because then one would also say, well, what did she eat that day? This is kind of sounding like, Hollerville. You're out from light to dark. Well, what are the hours between light and dark? You got there at what time? And your son went and looked for her at what time, the child? See, light to dark, it can mean 3 hours, 4 hours. And that's enough time for anybody to get gone. All it takes is to be out of sight 2 minutes. Turn a corner, anybody could have gotten her. Somebody could have gotten her that lived on the property. Because I'm sure that has happened in many places. People have been hurt and harmed by the residents in and out around the apartment complex where they lived. I mean, it happened here in Tennessee many moons ago in a public project. Child was abducted or taken or whatever, lured by a neighbor and hid up in an attic space. And how she stayed up in there, we don't know to this day. Because you have to be able to wrap the body to where it won't smell. Just very crazy things. Just very, very baffling. But then you go on and on about other people walking their children thereafter. See, that sounds like something an honorary person would say that don't give a fuck about their kid. Well, let me tell you what everybody else is doing. But we're not talking about everybody else. We're talking about you and what you weren't doing on October 12th. And why somebody was looking for you or one of your relatives to open the door to let a little kid in. And why was your child changed? Possibly 2 times that day. That doesn't make any logical sense. Because if your child is still wetting themselves or peeing outside, perhaps they needed to wear Pampers. That's why people always thought there was more to the story. And there may not be more to the story. It may just be Patrick Starworth and Derica Brown are the 2 suspects that kidnapped your child, murdered your child. But your behavior that night, you and the bio father, and thereafter was very suspect and very disrespectful. And it just goes to show that you all didn't have any business rearing kids because you had too much going on. And that's why people started gossiping and talking and insinuating that you two were behind the disappearance of the child because of how you lived. Going to court, fighting each other, this and that, baby mama dramas. People talk. It doesn't mean that there's truth to what they're saying. But when you have a past of getting in trouble, robbing people, going back and forth with different women, beefing with different people in the street, it'd be very easy for somebody to assume this person and that person took. Okay, Kinsley, hit the link if you can, sweetheart. Just scroll up. It's right above you. It's very easy for people to assume this and that when you have a lot of drama in your life. And that's why it didn't help you going to social media talking about a ransom. You did that day 1, which I thought was very inappropriate, considering your child was missing. Why do you want to talk about somebody calling you about a ransom? We don't even know if that's truth or not, because I made a video about that about what, 2 years ago, asking you, what's the truth to the ransom? Who are you speaking of that asked you for a ransom? And the only person it could be would either be April or Derica. And Derica would have been incarcerated at the time because she and Patrick were arrested the same day, but he bonded out on a Thursday and then rearrested on that following Tuesday. So how would Derica have had access to call you day 1 of being arrested in the jail? I doubt it. You all helped fuel the fire and the innuendos that people had pertaining to who kidnapped the child. And then later, months later, after she's already been buried, you have the bio mother sitting in a trap house hanging with guys with guns. So one would say, why would you be doing that? You care for your child, remaining child. You already lost one. What type of mother goes and hangs in a trap house? See, this is what people don't understand. We know that the villains are villains. that take the children, kill the children. That's not the problem. But the parents have to own some responsibility as well for putting their children in those types of situations. You're not watching your children. Well, they're susceptible to have bad things happen to them. Anything. And yes, we all have played outside unattended. We get that. But you have to know that what one can do, another one cannot. That's just the way the world is designed. Hold on one second, you guys. One of my moms is traveling right now, so that's maybe not. But it's just the way it is. And I will keep saying this because I think all the cases are similar to some degree. Camille's case, Cal City, and Summer Wells, they're all evenly yoked. A lot of toxicity with the bio parents. And that's why you have all this gossip. And he said, she said, pertaining to the children and the storyline and their associates and people who knew them and hung with them and liked them and came around and tried to befriend them. It's always an he said, she said. And then the people who are doing the talking, they're really of the same caliber as the people that they're so-called fraternizing with and then later turn on. That's why I keep trying to tell everybody, stay woke. The side pieces are no different than the bio donors. They're all jacked up too, chaotic too, messy too. That's the reason why they know them when we're in their peripheral, hanging with them, friends with them, whatever the situation. Fell out with them because they're just like them. That's why sometimes you have to take heed to the company that you keep. Choose better people to hang around. Sometimes we can be too nice to people, hang with them because we knew of them. But that doesn't mean that we owe them friendship. And you don't want to be mean to people, but everybody is not on your level. Some people can say, well, you think you're better than somebody. No, it ain't about nobody being better. It's about I do what's best for me. Because what's best for me may not be best for you. And what's best for you may not be best for me. Everybody can't be friends with everybody. It's not possible. First of all, you have to know what a friend is. That's what I'm saying. All these stories are the same to me. That's the one thing I've learned since I've been talking about these cases. They're all the same. They're all about jacked up people who had children and their children went missing. And then every monkey, clown, lizard, leopard, rat, pig come out of the closet to give a story. You have to ask yourself, why is that? I think it's obvious. These people don't have no business with no children. And the people singing along, bringing a rendition, they don't need no children. It's all the same. Because they are all the same. Evenly yoked in madness, foolishness, mayhem, the misfits. That's it. And you're going to keep having these stories, and you're going to keep having all this nonsense play out on social media, YouTube, because people will carry a bone. Hey, let me tell you about what they said. Let me tell you what Pookie said. Let me tell you what Bubba said. And that's all it takes. Somebody puts up a Facebook post, and that starts the rhetoric. Then somebody goes a digging. Hey, let me show you what they said over here. Then somebody spreads that and shares it. Then somebody else, they look at it, they share it. And then there is your madness. It's very sickening to me. I don't know if all these people knew each other or not. I don't know if somebody hired these people to take the little girl. And I always said that when the rendering came down of who was arrested, I would accept it and move on. But going back in now, replaying the interviews and listening, it still crosses my mind. Are we looking at the whole truth pertaining to who all is involved in the disappearance of the child and the murder of the child? As many people thought The bio dad hired these people to teach his baby mama a lesson. And you will see photos of him on social media where he's at that same apartment complex. I do not know the timeline of that photo where he's got money up to his ear, but it makes one pause and say, gee, how small is Birmingham and Center Point? That he's on the same property where the child was with these monsters. The fact that he said, I got people looking at Center Point. Now, perhaps he lived in Center Point. I don't know where he lived exactly. But why would you even say that? Why wouldn't you say, I got people looking right around here? Now, maybe he didn't have people look around there at Tom Brown because he didn't live in the Tom Brown area. That makes sense. But that's the thing, is that people chop up every little thing that you say. And they start trying to put things together from a comment. It doesn't mean that it's true what the people are trying to put together, but this is what some people do. They want to try to analyze things. And sometimes it can be very far-fetched, their speculations. I totally agree. But this is what people do. I don't know what they got going on over here, but it ain't got nothing to do with her. They. Who are they? The cousin? April's cousin? She seemed to appear to be a dope fiend in her interview to the news about them coming out looking 3 times, or for 3 minutes rather. She was playing in a bouncy house. She could have been playing in a bouncy house because she was back at that alleged courtyard playing with other children. And I don't know the proximity from where you looked out to where the bouncy house sat to where the child was abducted. And see, that's the one thing that's never been told. The actual distance between the cousin's door, the bouncy house, and the proximity of where the child was actually abducted. How many feet are we talking about? Or minutes? And we already know that no adults were supervising the children or the child would be alive. There weren't any older children supervising her. Because in the end, you can't expect a child to watch a child. And nobody said anything if there were older children. So you have to stay woke. Those children were all similar in age. That's why there was nothing that could have been done. Did one of the children say something to the adults? Hey, where you going? Where you taking this child? But we'll never know, will we? Because we weren't there. I ponder over the motive of why they took this child. I'm very curious. Because Derica didn't have any of her children. 6 children, all in foster care with relatives. What was it about Camille McKinney that she felt the need to kidnap this child? Who orchestrated the kidnapping? Who said what to whom first about getting a child that day? And why that child? And why not the other child? And who was the other child that was playing with Camille McKinney? And why didn't that person's parent come out to say, oh, I'm grateful they didn't take my child? How horrific they took Camille. Never to this day have I ever heard the name of the parent, if it was a boy or girl. They're grateful that the child wasn't taken. Nothing. See, everything about this story to me is no different than the other stories. Off. And see, it's off because of the people who are involved. The street people. You see, when you can't get an answer to a question, a very mundane question, such as a timeline. What time did you get up? What time did you get here? What time did you drop the kid off? What time did you go outside? Did you take a nap? Woo, woo, woo. When people can't give you a definitive answer, it is a reason why. Because there is some smoke in the city. They were either doing something they don't want to tell, or they weren't around. Or they're lying about something. Because how hard is it to say? I got to Tom Brown at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I went in the house. The kids stayed outside and played for 4 or 5 hours. I sent my son out to go look. He said he couldn't find her. That was 7 o'clock, 7:30, whatever the time was. To this day, she's never given a time. She's just like Candace. Can't tell you the time. I find that so interesting because that dawned on me with Candace listening to her talk to a certain person today, audio. Everything is, I don't know. Well, what time did you go over here? I don't know. Well, what time did you pick this up? I don't know. I can't remember. You know, I don't have, I'm not good with time. Oh, I can't relive what happened yesterday. Most people can, especially when it's something horrific. You're just talking about 9 months ago. Who would forget 9 months ago when it's something as tragic as losing a child? See, this is why I know this is bullshit with these people. They're all the same. They're different races, but they're all evenly yoked in bullshit. They all make up the lamest excuses, always talking about, why are people talking about me? Why are you judging me? Why? Because I fucking can. I'm a human being, that's why. And you all don't know when to keep your mouth closed when you see how jacked up a situation is. And then you start coming out talking, not making any sense, making the situation worse, when you could just be quiet. And yes, we will judge people when we don't hear from them. They don't talk to the news, as April complained here and said people talk bad about her because she didn't come out right away. Oh, you all don't know the protocol. Well, there are a lot of things we don't know. Just like we didn't know you snatched your microphone off when that white lady was trying to talk to you about your child missing. She didn't do it. She didn't take your kid. What you mad at her for? She's there to help, get the story out. You cussing out some girl in the project the same night. See, those are the things that show there's something wrong with you. And that's why people started talking about you when the information got out. Hey, let's show you this video where she's snatching the mic off. Bitch, y'all didn't know she did that. Hey, let us show you her cursing out this lady in the project the same night. She's looking for a kid. I bet you didn't know that. Because they were trying to show us we didn't know you. And maybe there's something up with you. You and the bio father. That's what people do. Doesn't mean you did anything, but people want you to see something off with these parents. You all are troubled beings. I don't know if you're still the same as you were then. I'd hope for your sake you have changed. Because to walk around with jacked up ass attitude, you'll be in a situation again with your other kid. Because you sure let that be known shortly after your child was buried. You go to Facebook and tell the world, he's too clingy. What does that say about your own child who lost his sister? See, this is what I'm saying. And then you get mad and say people are judging you. Stop talking. Stop talking. You had no business on social media arguing with people and talking, putting up stupid posts, nasty posts, cursing. I got all that on my community page. If anybody wants to see you talking, ranting and raving and fussing about nothing and nonsense. Total asinine behavior for somebody that just buried their kid. Asinine. As for these two, I don't know what to say about Patrick and Derica. There are no words. Who told the other one to go get a kid? Who told the other one that this was right? Who did what to the child? Why did they pick that child? Why did they do anything to the child if true? He sodomized the child. Why? You're a sadist. Did she also do felonious deeds with the child? Is it true that she also molested her own children, Derica Brown? What is the truth? Has he done other crimes such as this before in other states? He doesn't have a criminal record in other states that we know of. But is he a sadist? Possibly so. Has he done this to other children somewhere else? I don't know. But it'll be a shame to find out that he has. It'll be a shame to find out that both of them have been molesting children and nobody said anything and did anything. Because children are afraid to come forward to tell you that people have been touching them. That's to be expected. But what is not right is you have acknowledged that somebody's been molesting a child and you don't call authorities. And or you allow somebody to molest your children and keep your children around child molester. Very baffling story. But the one thing I've learned yesterday in talking to Candace about her sister is that if she is a sister who really didn't know her own sister and she can have hope and faith in a human she knows nothing about who has been accused of a very atrocious crime, imagine one or two people like that on the jury panel. listening to the information and saying the same thing. No, she couldn't have possibly done that. She has children of her own. Oh, no, he couldn't have done that. He doesn't have a criminal record. He's very mild-mannered. He comes from a good family. He hasn't been in trouble with the law. They've got the wrong guy. And God forbid, in the trial, they bring up all the things that played out on YouTube and Facebook. It will be a hot, hot mess. Because as I've told you, that's all it takes to sway the jury. It's reasonable doubt that somebody else did the crime, somebody else is involved. And if God knows anything that was said on Facebook is repeated in that courtroom, it will be hell on wheels. Because if anything comes out in that trial pertaining to Dominic McKinney's lifestyle, his past, all the ugly things he said on Facebook about 2 guns at Nolan, any type of criminal record he has, all the things she's been accused of as far as not watching her children, anybody testifies to that effect, that fact, all her nasty comments on social media, if any of that plays out, those 2 could possibly walk, DNA or not. See, that's what you got to understand. Many cases have had DNA, iron-proof DNA, evidentiary material, and the people walked because the defense was clever enough to bring forth reasonable doubt. This is why I say why you can't be on social media talking and running your mouth. Because you're not thinking of the day that it goes to trial and that all those little ugly things you were saying and doing could play out in court. Nobody thinks about that. And I'm surprised those 2 didn't tell their lawyers of the he said and the she said. I'm sure people talked in the jail and told them, hey, we think the daddy did it. The mama did it. That's all they have to do, tell the lawyer that. Yeah, the mama's involved. The daddy's involved. We did it for them. They just make it up just from the gossip. Just from the gossip. Reasonable doubt. That's all you need. Hang a jury. Or get someone off entirely. That's my commentary. I'll thank you all for joining me. If you need to verify any information that I've played in this live, it's on my community board pertaining to Derica and Patrick Brown, the parents. As I said, there will not be a federal death penalty on the table for Derica and Patrick. Why it was taken off, I do not know. It's very interesting information. I also did an interview with her sister, Candace Jackson, yesterday. Feel free to go in the YouTube library to pull up that said interview. It's a very interesting interview. As I said, I don't believe Candace has realized the extensive nature of this crime because she's related to the suspect and wants to believe that the sister did not do anything to harm the child. She was just there and under the influence. But as I told her, I do believe that she's in denial pertaining to her sister because they really didn't have a bond growing up because they all were in foster care as young children. And sometimes you have to just accept the fact that you don't know people. So you really can't speak for people you don't know. You're related to them, but you don't know them. And you can think you know them and don't know them. And that's evident of all the things that man and woman has done. And people were shocked to hear that they had done it or said something. Because people just don't sometimes want to accept the fact that people have done terrible things, said terrible things. And there are people who will still uphold them and been a witness to them doing and saying things that's terrible. And then that's where the problem really lies, are the enablers. And as you see in this case, hello, dear. that a lot of these people have been enabled to get away with doing the things they've done. Poor parenting. And then the sadists who have exacted the crimes against the children. At some point in life, they've been enabled as well. Because look at Patrick Stallworth. They found porn on his phone pertaining to children. But yet somebody stupidly bonded him out. Nice lump sum of money. Or they put up their house or some type of property to get him out. Why? Why would you bond someone out who has child porn on their phone? And it also had a charge of distribution. So his mother is ill too. She would sit up here and bond out a man almost 40 years of age with child pornography on his cell phone. And then he's rearrested days later when they find Cupcake's body in a landfill. No bond. Then you'd have to ask yourself, if there was a bond, would you then still go back to the bondsman to bond him out again days later? Possibly so. And how terrible it is to know that these people are being enabled by others. So he possibly has done other things, just wasn't caught. And they possibly know of his behavior. They're just like a lot of people, pushing it and shoving it under the rug. So that BS about fine people, decent people, wealthy people. Wealthy doesn't make you fine, and wealthy doesn't give you class. Education doesn't give you class. Nice looks don't give you class. Because to sit here and enable a sadist means you're cut from the same cloth. You are no different. And I got a feeling that perhaps he's been in other things. He just didn't get caught and or arrested. But they know that he has deviant behavior. That's a sad commentary for this live. When I get more information from Candace pertaining to her sister and Patrick Stallworth, I will bring you that said information. Nobody wants to give their opinion this evening pertaining to this case, and that's okay. But when I get more information, I will bring you that. But as I said, the state is still seeking the death penalty against Patrick Stallworth and Derica Brown. And the feds took their death penalty off the table. Why? I do not know, and I haven't gotten a reason why. And I am very curious to why they did that. But that's my said information. And also, I've questioned the behavior of the bio parents in this live as well. I've shown you video of them speaking in the beginning, information pertaining to the discovery of the child's body, a little bit of beef he had, well, big beef he had with Two Guns Vito. I played a little clip of Vito going off, and that's that. And the other one is to my community board where she's going off in Facebook posts with a said person. I was just doing an all-inclusive of everything pertaining to the case and how it came to be and how it played out also on social media. And Planet of the Fakes covered this story extensively before death. So I did play a little bit of his commentary, and TG breaking global breaking news, also commentary from her where they show the housing development where this took place. I thank you all for joining me. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $Beganji129 Cash App. Thank you so much for your time. You all have a wonderful week and blessings to all of you. And please mind the children. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. Thank you so much. Good night.